Hi, sophomores. Today we're going to begin reading the play Antigone, and so I wanted to just remind you of a couple of things before we get started. So remember that Antigone is part of a trilogy. It's the last play within the three-part trilogy. In the first two parts of the trilogy, we learned about what happened to Antigone's super messed up family. Remember that her dad is Oedipus and her mom is Jocasta, but technically Jocasta is also her grandmother, because Jocasta had Oedipus, who had a child, Antigone. And Oedipus is also her brother, since Jocasta, her mother, has all of these children. So Oedipus is also her brother. All of these people have died. Remember that the big thing you need to know is that the two boys that were left, Eteocles and Polynices, they died fighting each other for control of the kingdom. Remember that Eteocles is the older brother. He used the army that was stationed at Thebes to defend Thebes. Polynices was the younger brother, so his claim to the throne was not as good. He went outside of Thebes, bought an army, brought it back to Thebes to fight his brother, but that sure looks a lot like he's attacking his own city. They actually killed each other dead on the battlefield, and so the only male relative that's left is Creon, who is Jocasta's brother. This is where our play starts. Eteocles and Polynices have just died. I mean, within hours ago. They are literally still laying on the ground at the battlefield right now. Creon has just been crowned king. He's only been king for like a couple of hours at this point. So keep all of that in mind. We are going to read the prologue today, and so let me show you what that looks like real quick. Okay, so the prologue starts here, and it does say that the scene is in front of the palace of Creon, who is king of Thebes. There is a central double door and two lateral doors. There's a platform that extends the length of the facade, and from this platform, 3 steps lead down into the orchestra or the chorus ground. The time is dawn. Remember, guys, I told you that this play will start at dawn, and by the end of the play, it will just be the end of the day, and there will be a bloodbath left. So keep in mind who's left in this family. We still have Antigone and her sister Ismene. And then over here we have Creon, who is the new king. That does happen to be Antigone and Ismene's uncle. Creon is married to Eurydice, and they have a son, Haman. Haman and Antigone are, in fact, engaged. Okay, so what I'm going to do is read the prologue to you. It's pretty short. It's only 2 pages long. The stage directions are going to be here in these brackets. And so anywhere you see stage directions, let me see if I can find some more. Here's the other stage direction. You'll know that that's not being said out loud by a character on stage. It is actually just directions for the actors themselves to be able to know what to do. So the prologue's pretty short. The prologue is only between Antigone and Ismene. They're the only 2 characters on stage. They're right in front of the palace. Remember I told you that the whole conflict of this play will be set in the prologue. And so the prologue is super important because it tells us where the rest of the play is going to go from here. You're not going to be able to differentiate between my Antigone voice and my Ismene voice. I'm not going to do different voices. So it's going to be important for you as I read that you actually follow along on the screen so that you know which sister is speaking. Okay? So here we go. With the prologue, it says that Antigone and Ismene enter from the central door of the palace. Ismene, dear sister, you would think that we had already suffered enough for the curse on Oedipus. I cannot imagine any grief that you and I have not gone through. And now, have they told you of the new decree of our King Creon? I have heard nothing. I know that 2 sisters lost 2 brothers, a double death in a single hour. I know that the Argive army fled in the night, but beyond this, nothing. Side note, guys, this is your teacher speaking, not the text. The Argive army would be the army that Polynices brought in. Once he died, they fled. Antigone says, I thought so, and that's why I wanted you to come come out here with me. There is something we must do. Ismene says, why do you speak so strangely? And so you can tell Antigone is about to ask her sister to do something. And so here's her little spiel to her sister. She says, listen, Ismene, Creon buried our brother Oedipus with military honors, gave him a soldier's funeral, and it was right that he should. But Polynices, who fought as bravely and died as miserably, they say that Creon has sworn no one shall bury him, no one mourn for him, but his body must lie in the fields, a sweet treasure for carrion birds to find as they search for food. That is what they say, and our good Creon is coming here to announce it publicly. And the penalty? Stoning to death in the public square. There it is, and now you can prove what you are, a true sister or a traitor to your family. So let's break down what she has asked her sister to do. She says that Creon, the brand new king, their uncle, has buried their brother Edicles. He's been given military honors. Remember, guys, I told you all this in another video, but remember how important it was to the Greeks for anyone who dies to actually be buried. They believed that you had to be buried in order to go to their version of heaven. Without a burial, you would never cross over. And so Edicles, the older brother who defended the city of Thebes, he was given this really cool burial, right? Military honors, soldier's funeral. And Antigone agrees that was a good thing. It was right that he should be buried that way. Ooh, but here we get to it. Polynices, her younger brother, the one who brought the army in, she says he fought as bravely but died as miserably. They say that Creon has sworn no one shall bury him. So Polynices apparently doesn't get a funeral. No one's even allowed to mourn for him, and here's the kicker. His body must lie in the fields, a sweet treasure for carrion birds to find as they search for food. I'm going to have you guys look up the word carrion real quick. I've pulled up dictionary.com. That's a really good online resource, and so I'm going to type in carrion to figure out what kind of birds we're talking about. So it says carrion birds, which means it's an adjective. It means feeding on carrion. Carrion itself, the noun, is dead and putrefying flesh. And so this means that these are birds that actually feed on dead flesh. So think of like a vulture. Creon has said vultures are going to eat his body. And Antigone tells her sister Ismene, so Creon is coming here to announce this law publicly, that no one is allowed to bury Polynices, and the penalty is stoning to death in the public square. Kids always ask me about this each year. Stoning to death means you are put in the middle of a circle and they throw rocks at you until you die. It would be a really slow, painful, pretty graphic way to die, actually. She says, and there it is, you can prove what you are, a true sister or a traitor to your family. She is giving her sister two options. Notice that her character is really starting to emerge here. She says, you're going to prove that you're either a true sister or you're a traitor. Okay, so let's keep reading. Ismene says, Antigone, you are mad. What could I possibly do? Antigone says, you must decide whether you will help me or not. I do not understand you. Help you in what? Ismene, I am going to bury him. Will you come? Bury him? You have just said the new law forbids it. He is my brother, and he is your brother too. But think of the danger. Think of what Creon will do. Creon is not strong enough to stand in my way. So at this point in class, we would stop and talk about these two sisters. They seem to have very, very different personalities. Antigone says, I am going to bury him. I do not care that the king has made a law. I do not care that the penalty is death. I'm going to do it. And look what she says here. Creon is not strong enough to stand in my way. Ismene, on the other hand, very scared. She says, bury him, like she's surprised. She says, but think of the danger. Again, that surprise. Think what Creon will do. She's warning her sister that you can't do this because Creon will kill you. So you can tell that Antigone is quite brave, quite forceful, quite stubborn, quite proud. Ismene, on the other hand, much more timid, scared, a rule follower, kind of bows to those that are in power. Let's keep reading. Ismene says, Ah, sister, Oedipus died, everyone hating him for what his own search brought to light, his eyes ripped out by his own hand. And Jocasta died, his mother and wife at once. She twisted the cords that strangled her life. And our two brothers died, each killed by the other's sword. And we are left. But oh, Antigone, think how much more terrible than these our own death would be if we should go against Creon and do what he has forbidden. We are only women. We cannot fight with men, Antigone. The law is strong, but we must give in to the law in this thing and in worse. I beg the dead to forgive me, but I am helpless. I must yield to those in authority, and I think it is dangerous business to be always meddling. So here she warns her sister against acting against Creon. She even says, oh my gosh, it kills me. We are only women. We cannot fight with men, Antigone. So again, you see that timidness, that scared feeling within her. She really bows to the fact that Creon is in power and has made a law. Antigone, you're going to see, does not like this response. Antigone says, if that is what you think, I should not want you, even if you ask to come. You have made your choice, and you can be what you want to be. But I will bury him, and if I must die, I say that this crime is holy. I shall lie down with him in death, and I shall be as dear to him as he to me. It is the dead, not the living, who make the longest demands. We die forever. You may do as you like, since apparently the laws of the gods mean nothing to you. I want to point out again that they believed that the gods required burial. It was almost like a sacrifice. And so Antigone is saying, this crime is holy because I am committing this crime due to the laws of the gods. And she points that out to her sister several times. So she really wants to follow her religious beliefs. Ismene says, they mean a great deal to me, but I have no strength to break laws that were made for the public good. That must be your excuse, I suppose. But as for me, I will bury the brother I love. Antigone, I am so afraid for you. You need not be. You have yourself to consider after all. Guys, this is such a burn right here. You have yourself to consider. Oh my gosh. Ismene says, but no one must hear of this. You must tell no one. I will keep it a secret, I promise. So she's trying to protect her sister. But look how Antigone responds. Antigone says, oh, tell it. Tell everyone. Think how they'll hate you when it all comes out if they learn that you knew about it all the time. So fiery, you should be cold with fear. Perhaps, but I am doing only what I must. But can you do it? I say that you cannot. Very well, when my strength comes out, I shall do no more. Impossible things should not be tried at all. Go away, Ismene. I shall be hating you soon, and the dead will too, for your words are hateful. Leave me my foolish plan. I am not afraid of the danger. If it means death, it will not be the worst of deaths, death without honor. Go then if you feel you must. You are unwise, but a loyal friend indeed to those who love you. So it's so interesting that Antigone is like, tell everyone what I've done. I'm not scared. Think how they'll hate you, Ismene, when it comes out that you knew about this the whole time, but you didn't do anything to help. So Antigone warns her sister, the public is going to hate you if they know that you didn't help bury your brother. And then Antigone at the end, look how upset she is. She says, go away. I will be hating you soon. Your words are hateful. She says that death without honor is a worse death. She doesn't mind dying. And so Ismene, again, very timid at the end, she says, go on if you feel you must. The stage directions at the end say they exit into the palace, and Antigone goes off to the other side of the stage. So there's your prologue. You're going to go into today's assignment, and you're going to answer the questions that are there. Remember, one of the questions is going to be about this vocabulary word here. You will also have a journal to complete as well. And if you need to look back over the text of the prologue, that is included in the daily folder as well. Please let me know if you have any questions. Hope you're having a great day. Bye.